Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Candice Quinn of London Pierce Real Estate, based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. With a passion for people and architecture, Candice discovered her niche in real estate at just 19 years old and quickly made a name for herself in the industry. She founded London Pierce Real Estate in 2009, a boutique real estate brokerage located in Scottsdale, Arizona, focused on incorporating design, statement marketing, and concierge services, bringing a unique and tailored experience to the home selling and buying process. With 18 years of experience and much success, this top-producing realtor has received local and national attention and was recently featured on the cover of Top Agent magazine. All right, with all that said, Candice, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Keith. Glad to be here.
Candice, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
I definitely have always known that I wanted to do real estate. As long as I can remember, I've always been obsessed with real estate. As a child, I would pick up those real estate magazines every time we went to the supermarket, and I'd read them from front to back, just studying the houses. I would ask my parents to take me to see some of them, and my parents really supported it, and we did look at a lot of houses. My mother is actually a successful agent in Utah, and my father is incredible at design and construction, so really it's in my blood. I got started right after high school. I knew it was my passion, and I'm grateful that I was able to do this and get started at a young age.
Excellent. I think you're probably one of the few guests of this, I believe, 77 interviews that I've done on my show that actually said, as a child, because we kind of always joke a little bit if you were to ask a child, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's very rare that someone would say, I want to be a real estate agent. It's always, I want to be a police officer, a firefighter, a lawyer, a doctor. But that's great that you were kind of brought up in that environment and you knew, from the beginning that's what you wanted to do. So can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success you've had in real estate?
Well, Keith, I really have an incredible drive. I'm a natural businesswoman, and I'm always looking for ways to improve upon my business. For example, I wake up early every morning, I take the day in, and I'm trying to come up with new ideas. I have a passion for this industry, and that passion really does fuel me. I'm a perfectionist. I do like to stand out and do things a bit differently. I'm always coming up with ways to improve the business and just find solutions to common problems that we're seeing. And, in real estate, you're always going to have your basics as far as your marketing platforms. But what I like to do is look at how we can enhance the ideas and build upon them. I'm also a designer, and that has proven to be very helpful with my real estate career.
Excellent. And do you think you could give our listeners an example of when your traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Yeah, well, my background in design is very helpful for buyers and sellers. I've had sellers that have had difficulty selling their homes for whatever reason, and I can help them set up their home in a way that will appeal to the buyers. How can we stage your furniture, declutter, colors? What can we do that will appeal to those buyers? And that has helped tremendously. On the flip side, if you're a buyer and you really love this neighborhood, but you just can't get past the inside of some of the homes that you've seen in the neighborhood, I can actually offer ideas of how to improve this home and visualize a different space, and I've got connections in the construction industry. So that's been very, very beneficial for the buyers as well.
Candice, I think when anybody has success in their life, the road to get there usually always isn't a perfect, smooth path. People have adversities and trials. So can you talk a little bit about some of the adversities or trials that you had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Yeah, I would definitely say the biggest challenge in my career was going through the housing crash. It was a surreal experience, seeing things change right before my eyes, hearing news that this bank closed, that bank closed, there's appraisals being cut, there's foreclosures, short sales galore, people losing their jobs. It was quite a challenging time, but I did use this challenge as a platform, and I decided it was at that time that I should act. So people were running for the hills, getting out of the industry, and my instincts told me that was the time to really reach for my goals. So that's when I relocated to Scottsdale and decided to launch London Pierce Real Estate. I wanted to get a head start and grow, and did find several ways to be successful even in the downtime. And, I truly believe that if you believe it, you can achieve it.
And what kept you going? Obviously, like you said, you experienced the market crash where you saw a lot of people jump ship. You could have potentially, considered doing that. Why didn't you give up? What kept you moving forward?
Well, positive attitude is crucial. You can't get stuck in that negative energy and all that fear that people were feeling. I feel like if you don't get stuck in that, you are always going to find a way out. My drive to succeed kept me going, and that's really what keeps me going each day. I've got two amazing boys, and I really want to set a good example for them and, show them that whatever we want in life, we can have it if we go after it. So that's definitely been a driving force, too.
Excellent. I remember an interview we did recently where the agent was talking of how they, actually it was a broker, and they were going through the crash where they actually made, as part of their mission statement and their operating procedure for the year, that they wouldn't allow negativity into the office. They wouldn't watch the news. They wouldn't read They basically said, we're going to focus on, just like what you said, let's focus on the positive and embrace that, versus once you let the negativity in, it gets in and it can just cultivate itself. So I think it's great
that fear is paralyzing, and that's awesome that they did that, and that's exactly how I felt too.
And I guess kind of looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career, say, over the next 5 years?
Well, I want to bring on more like-minded agents to the company. I would like to continue to improve upon and grow London Pierce Real Estate. I really want to be at the forefront of real estate in Scottsdale.
Excellent. And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself and your business so that you can have continual growth as a real estate professional?
Well, I always strive to be the best and surround myself with the best. So I like to market myself and my company this way. I strive for excellence. For example, I like to use the best photographer because I want the listings that we take to stand out magazine style. I like to pre-market all of our listings to the top agents in the area, do some networking, create some buzz before they go live. And ultimately, I love the word of mouth referrals, and so we really take great care of our clients so that we can receive those.
And I think a lot of times the general market or the general population sometimes doesn't view real estate agents or professionals in a positive light. They have a certain misconception of what they do and what they actually bring to the table. So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
Well, there are always a few bad apples in any industry, but it drives me crazy that people still have misconceptions about realtors as a whole. The good agents will strive to help their clients and do a great job with the marketing and negotiating. We don't just stick a sign in the yard and wait for the phone to ring and get these huge checks like a lot of people think. We really work hard to get our clients top dollar and negotiate the deals for the buyers. So hiring a professional is invaluable. It's a must. They can help you understand pricing, pull the comps, negotiate correctly. And I just don't understand why people think that it's useful to do this stuff on their own. You always hire a professional with your big decisions, and, real estate is a huge investment.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that people, when they have, if their arm hurts or they have a head, they're going to go to a doctor. They're going to seek professional advice. But here's one of the biggest assets that they potentially own in a financial situation. And yet they're like, oh, let's just put a sign in the front yard and see what happens. And maybe it's a seller's market. But even so, like you said, all the behind-the-scenes that happen with the disclosures and negotiations and all the contracts, just everything, they don't do that every day. Just like a doctor knows here's where the pain is. Well, real estate agents obviously know the ins and outs to protect them from, liability and issues.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So let's say you get a call from a family member or friend. They're in another state and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, as a broker, you have other connections and you could reach out and check people out and do a potential referral. But let's say just from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs? Like you talk about taking care of your clients, what would you tell them to look for?
Well, it's nice because the internet has made everything so accessible. So I would recommend that they do some research and really find an agent that specializes, or several agents that specialize in the area. These agents are going to have the inside track on the sales in the area and the upcoming listings or even pocket listings that aren't on the MLS. And I'd also recommend that they interview more than one agent because you need to make sure it's a fit. Ask them about their business model and make sure it's a fit for you, whether communication is important or their marketing style or even if it's just a personality match. That's really important.
Excellent advice. And Candice, if somebody's looking for real estate services, obviously in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, what's the best way they can find out more about you and how you can help them?
So they can go to the website, www.londonpierce.com, and accessible by phone day or night, 480-240-0155, or email questions@londonpierce.com.
Excellent. Well, Candice, obviously we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all of your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Candice and how she can help you, you can obviously visit her site, like she said, londonpierce.com. Also below this interview, we're going to have a link to her site and any other contact information so that you can go ahead and connect with her and see if she would be a good fit to work with you. So with all that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.